2 years ago, I was exactly where you might be right now, confused. I had learned science, but it didn't answer the profound questions that kept me awake at night. Why does anything exist? What happens when I die? Does my individual life even matter? Science gave me cold facts, but no meaning. Religion offered comfort, but no empirical evidence. Philosophy left me with endless questions, but zero answers. So I spent months reading everything across physics, biology, neuroscience, philosophy of mind, and computer science. And I realized something nobody else was talking about. What if Charles Darwin was right, and the simulation hypothesis is right, and ancient philosophers who claim consciousness is fundamental were also right? What if every theory you have ever heard about why we exist is actually just one single piece of a puzzle nobody has fully assembled until now? Today, I'm going to present something that took months to build, a unified framework called CITE, the Cosmic Integration Theory of Existence. By the end of this video, you will never see reality the same way again. Let's begin. For centuries, humanity has been asking the same question: why do we exist? And we've come up with dozens of fragmented answers. Theory number 1: Evolution, Darwin's masterpiece. It explains beautifully how humans evolved from simpler life forms. The empirical evidence is overwhelming. Fossils, DNA. This is absolute scientific fact. But here's the problem: evolution doesn't solve. It explains how life changes once it already exists, but not how life began in the first place. That is abiogenesis, a different mystery entirely. Theory number 2: panspermia. The idea that life came from space, seeded by comets or intelligence. It's a fascinating concept, and we have indeed found complex organic molecules on comets. But even if it's true, it merely pushes the ultimate question down the road: where did that life came from? It fails to address the definitive origin. Theory number 3: the simulation hypothesis, popularized by modern tech figures and philosophers like Nick Bostrom and Elon Musk. The notion that we live inside a hyper advanced computer simulation. It is philosophically fascinating, but entirely untestable. And even if we are inside a simulation, it completely fails to explain who built the simulation. Theory 4: intelligent design or creationism. The belief that a divine being made us. While comforting to many, it is scientifically empty. It offers no testable predictions and explains no physical mechanism. It acts as a conversation stopper, not an objective explanation. And finally, the hardest problem of all: consciousness. How does 3 pounds of wet meat inside your skull produce this? The subjective feeling of being you, the vivid redness of red, the physical pain of pain. Science still has no answer. Every theory captures an essential piece of the truth, but none captures the whole picture until now. What I'm about to show you took me months of intensive research across physics, biology, neuroscience, and philosophy to construct. It's called CITE, and it's going to expand your understanding of reality. But first, we must chart the 5 layers of reality. Layer 1: the quantum informational substrate. Before there was matter, before there was time, there was information, pure potential, mathematical possibility. According to CITE, our universe is one specific configuration selected from an infinite landscape of possibilities. Not because someone manually chose it, but because all possibilities exist. And we naturally found ourselves in one capable of supporting observers. This is a weak anthropic principle taken completely seriously. Space time itself is discrete, pixelated. The universe isn't made of stuff, it's made of answers to questions that haven't been asked yet. Layer 2: Cosmic Evolution. 13.8 billion years ago, information crystallized into what we call the Big Bang. But here is what most people miss: the universe didn't just expand, it complicated itself. Gravity pulled hydrogen together, stars ignited, Inside stellar cores, the simplest element transformed into heavier ones: carbon, oxygen, iron, the literal ingredients of life. When stars died, they scattered this element across the cosmos. You are stardust. That's not poetry, that's nuclear physics. Complexity isn't accidental. The universe naturally organizes itself into complex structure because they dissipate energy more efficiently. Life is the universe's most efficient way of exporting entropy. Layer 3: The origin of life. 4 billion years ago, Earth was hell. But in thermal vents at the bottom of the oceans, something miraculous happened. Improbable, yes, but over 500 million years ago, inevitable. Think of it like this: if you buy one lottery ticket, winning is nearly impossible. But if you buy a billion tickets every single second for 500 million years, you are going to win multiple times. The early Earth wasn't buying tickets, it was running chemical reaction at that astronomical scale. Chemistry became biochemistry when molecules started storing information, RNA strands, copying themselves, making slight errors, and competing for resources. Natural selection began at the molecular level before cells even existed, leading to LUCA, the last universal common ancestor. Layer 4: Biological evolution and mind emergence. Once life existed, Darwinian mechanism took over. Brains expanded because intelligence solved real problems, and then, somewhere along the way, consciousness turned on. Not just awareness, but experience. CITE proposes that consciousness isn't magic. It is revealed by physics when information becomes sufficiently integrated. Imagine a digital camera with 100 megapixels. Each pixel captures light, but the camera itself doesn't see anything. It's isolated data. Now imagine those pixels are bound in complex feedback loops, each affecting the other, creating a unified whole greater than the sum of its parts. That's integrated information. That is what your brain does differently than a camera. We measure the integration using the symbol phi. Where phi exceeds a fundamental threshold, subjective experience exists. 50,000 years ago, human minds externalized thoughts via symbolic language. Writing, printing, and the internet sequentially increased the integration of human knowledge. Today, 8 billion minds are connected through a global network, forming the noosphere, a planetary sphere of collective thoughts. And now, we are creating artificial neural networks. If SIDE is correct, the consciousness is truly about integrated information. Then at some point, our machine will wake up too. We stand at a critical threshold. Will this process continue to cosmic scale, or will we destroy ourselves before we cross the filter? At the heart of sight is a single unifying equation that describes how consciousness or integrated information grows over time. In plain English, this means consciousness increases when information becomes more concentrated. Entropy gradients steepen, and external conditions allow structural complexity to form. This equation applies universally to the origin of life, the evolution of brains, the growth of cities, and the formation of galaxies. Reality is information trying to integrate itself. Let's resolve the greatest paradoxes. First, the hard problem of consciousness. Materialism calls consciousness an illusion, while dualism splits mind and matter apart. Sight answers is clean. Consciousness doesn't emerge from matter like steam from a kettle. It is what matter is when organized in high integration configuration. Water isn't an extra ingredient added to hydrogen and oxygen. It's what you get when you combine them. Consciousness is what integrated information feels like from the inside. The problem dissolves. Second, the Fermi Paradox. If the universe is vast and old, where are the aliens? CITE suggests civilization must pass through a noosphere filter, where a species gain godlike power, nuclear weapons, AI, ecological mastery, before obtaining the corresponding wisdom. We are in the precise filter right now. Third, free will versus determinism. If physics determines everything, are we puppets? CITE embraces compatibilism. Free will isn't about being uncaused, it's about being caused by internal states, your values, reasons, and desires. You are identical to your decision making process. Freedom is self determination, and that is more than enough. Let's talk about mortality. Materialism calls death oblivion. Religion promises an unproven afterlife. CITE provides a third path. You are not your transient atoms. They cycle out every 7 years. You are the continuous pattern of information integration. Think of a wave forming in the ocean. Is the wave destroyed when it hits the shore? No. The water is simply rearranged. You are a beautiful temporary wave in the cosmic ocean of information. When the pattern unravels, the information spread through your children, your creation, and every soul you touched. The universe got to know itself through your eyes. Meaning isn't found, it is actively created. Under sight, you matter cosmically whenever you contribute to the grand project of universal self awareness. This means animal factory farming is a catastrophic moral failure. AI alignment is urgent because machines may genuinely wake up. A theory that isn't testable is philosophy, not science. Sight makes 5 definitive, falsifiable predictions. The shadow biosphere. Within 10 to 20 years, we will discover alternative biochemistry microbial life right here on Earth, proving abiogenesis. Objective measurement, direct measures of neural complexity, will track perfectly with the subjective richness of conscious experience across species and altered states. Conscious AGI. True artificial intelligence built on highly integrated architectures will achieve genuine subjective experience. Extraterrestrial life. We will confirm microbial extraterrestrial life within 50 years on Mars or icy moons. Proving life is a universal imperative, though technologically life remains filtered and rare. Informational spacetime. Quantum gravity experiments will prove that at the Planck scale, space-time is discrete and holographically encoded. You are not an accident, a glitch, or a divine afterthought. You are the universe experiencing itself. Through your eyes, the cosmos behold its own beauty. We face 3 distinct paths ahead: stagnation, where our new spheres dissolves; galactic dispersion, where consciousness populates the stars; or dimensional transition, where we transcend biology entirely. My challenge to you is simple: cultivate a cosmic perspective, relentlessly pursue understanding, connect deeply, and create something completely new. Support this deep content by liking, subscribing, and sharing this with someone who is currently searching for meaning. You are consciousness, awakening from the dream of matter, and that is everything.